Ball game 22-10. The Eagles take care of business and stave off what Dallas could not a year ago. That's a live Packers side. The Packers season comes to a close. Struggles here for Jordan Love and 3 consecutive losses to end this season. All right, let's dive into it all with my guys, Lige Douzable, Bryant McFadden, Joe Musso, your host, fellas. It wasn't a pretty football game. Winner, loser, you choose your side. There were really no pictures on the scorecard per se here, Mac, but the Eagles get the job done in an ugly fashion. How were they able to do that and despite not having their fastball still find their win?
Their defense and Saquon Barkley. Their defense was outstanding, and you look at where they currently are as a unit. This is a team that you have to respect because they do things the right way in all 3 levels defensively. Because today, Jalen Hurts was not at his best. The passing game was not at their best, but their defense made sure they made life miserable for Jordan Love. When you look at the mishaps that was caused by the Philadelphia Eagles defensively, Leger, I'm talking about 3 interceptions, a fumble, and don't forget a missed field goal, a makeable field goal. Green Bay was not at their best, but Philly made things difficult, more difficult for them. So if you look at what Philly can do, I mean, no question, I felt good about their defense moving forward. But today they had to be at their best because clearly the rhythm was not there. And when you look at Jalen Hurts missing the time that he's missed, he needed his defense to back him in today's matchup.
Yeah, B-Mac, and that was the concern with Jalen Hurts essentially missing a month before this game. I liken this to the 2022 season when they went to the Super Bowl. Let's not forget he had the shoulder injury, but he had that Week 18 game to kind of knock that rust off. Well, that's why he started off slow in this first half, because he hasn't played in essentially a month. To your point, B-Mac, this defense was on fire. Shout out Nolan Smith because he made life hell for Zach Tom, the right tackle for the Green Bay Packers. Also, I love what I saw from Zach Bond. Great job in zone coverage, playing with vision to Jordan Love. Gets an interception. 3 turnovers, B-Mac and Moose, in the first half. When you're outgunned and you're outmanned, you cannot have 3 turnovers in the first half if you're the Green Bay Packers and expect to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. The defense showed up in the biggest way when they needed to, and you talked about it. Saquon at spurts in this game had his way with this defense.
Yeah, it was going to have to be a clean football game if you wanted to take a win off of these Eagles. As we take a look at some Jordan Love numbers, I know it was 3 turnovers in the first half, 2 of those belonging to Jordan Love. Love finishes the game with 3 interceptions, becomes the first player in Packers franchise history to have no touchdowns and 3 interceptions in a playoff game. We don't have to go too big picture here, but these are the games by which history measures you. What are you going to be once it is the finite reality of playoff football? What did you take away from Love's performance in this game, Mac?
He wasn't good. He wasn't good. But to your point, he finished the season not playing really, really good football. And one would say, if you look at what he did a year ago, the second half of the season is where he played his best, and then he came into the playoffs, got a playoff win, and played fairly well. But when you look at the entire body of work for Jordan Love this season, also, too, knowing that he received a handsome ransom in terms of his contract, getting $50 million per year, I don't believe he lived up to the billing, especially in today's matchup when his defense played outstanding as well. Because if you look at how bad they played in the half of play, this game was still competitive because the Green Bay Packers defense did what they were supposed to do. So for Jordan Love, it's safe to say he needs to get back to the basics because the expectations are high for Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Because he has shown flashes of high-level play, big-time throws. But if you look at how he finished this season, and then, of course, the playoff matchup today, he did not reach the level of expectations.
B-Mac and Moose, the Green Bay Packers have an identity crisis. They don't know what they want to be on offense. Is it led by Josh Jacobs? And we saw for a good portion of this game, he was the best player on this field. Or do they want to roll out the offense with Jordan Love? To B-Mac's point, the last 8 or 9 games last season, Jordan Love was on the tear. That's because Matt LaFleur opened the playbook for him and he got comfortable in the offense. Well, I felt like this year, B-Mac, you talked about it, they paid him all that money. You thought the offense would flow through him, but for spurts of the year, it flowed through Josh Jacobs and the physicality of the offensive line. So it's extremely hard for a quarterback to get in rhythm when you don't even know the identity of your offense. I think that is a question they need to answer this offseason. How is this offense going to be ran with Matt LaFleur? Is it going to be, have Josh Jacobs, have Jordan Love? Are we going to roll out the gambit for Jordan Love, or are we going to be that physical team that tries to pound you into submission? They have to answer that question because I think it affected Jordan Love down the stretch this year.
It appeared to, and this is a season-low 10-point output at the worst time for Green Bay, Jordan Love, and this offense. They finished the season 0-6 against teams with 11 or more wins. So we find that good tier. And then you got to take that step up to great. They have yet to take that step, and figuring out that identity is going to get them closer to it. But, Deuce, you laid that out so expertly. It does harken to the Eagles as well. Maybe not an identity crisis, but still trying to figure out that proper balance between running the ball with Saquon Barkley and getting their wide receivers involved. We obviously had the moment with A.J. Brown reading his book on the sideline, just trying to stay locked in, speak some positivity into this game. But when you look at what the Eagles need to be moving forward offensively to click better than they did on this night, what does that look like to you, Deuce?
Yeah, Moose, they got to be significantly more balanced on offense. We know what Saquon Barkley is going to do, and it seems like teams are going to make Jalen Hurts beat them now. We saw him do that earlier this year with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, but we knew that it was going to be some rust because he hasn't played in a month. I would look for Jalen Hurts to play significantly better in the divisional round because he'll have one game where he got kind of that rust out. And you saw this burst in the second half, Moose, him getting the Slim Reaper going, and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert being a part of the offense as well. That's the thing with A.J. Brown. I love when a star player who isn't getting the ball can still affect the game. On that touchdown for Dallas Goedert, it was his key block on the screenplay that sprung Dallas Goedert for the touchdown. So when A.J. Brown was angry earlier this year, it wasn't just because he wasn't getting the ball. It was the lack of the passing offense, period. Nobody was getting the ball. And we saw Jalen Hurts be a little timid in the first half. Thought he got into a rhythm a little bit in the second half. I would hope that carries over in the divisional round.
I can tell you this much. I'm a bit concerned, and I said this during the pregame show. Slow starts for the Philadelphia Eagles offensively. That has been their issue the entire season. Yes, the last 13 ball games, they won 12. But you look at how they get things going. It takes time. In playoff football, you don't have that luxury. Now, it didn't hurt them today, but who knows what it could do moving forward. They have to find a way to get things going. Jalen Hurts only had 39 yards throwing in the first half. I mean, that's a Pop Warner stat day at a quarterback, 11U, playing at park ball, 39 yards in the first half. No, you have to find a way to generate more because you cannot expect your defense to be as dominant as they were moving forward if you have any aspirations of getting to New Orleans. And the last thing I say about A.J. Brown, I applaud A.J. Brown in finding ways to keep his mentos intact on the sideline.
Certainly.
Because when you're a wide receiver one and you only get 3 targets, in a meaningful ball game, yes, you won, but you still feel some type of way. Because when I look at the landscape of the NFL world, when I look at other high-level wide receiver ones on their team, they get targets. Justin Jefferson, you can double, you can triple. He's going to get targets. Jamar Chase, the same thing. A.J. Brown deserves to be more involved. And it's something about this game plan in terms of what we saw today. Jalen Hurts deferred more to who? Smitty. And it wasn't like they were consistently rolling coverage to A.J. Brown. It's something about the disconnect. If they have any aspirations, Leger, Joe, in trying to get to the promised land, you got to get Levin going.
You're stirring the pot.
I'm not. I'm just talking about what I saw.
Stirring the pot.
I'm just talking about what I saw.
I saw a young man who's very talented, who needs the football, dealing with whatever he was dealing with in that moment.
Wait a minute.
In a constructive manner.
AJ had 3 targets.
Correct.
Smitty had 4. Dallas Goedert have 6.
Let's wrap this by asking you the question. Who's that on? Is that on the offense coordinator? Is that on the quarterback, or a mixture of the two?
I think it's a little bit on both. And Leger, you can talk about this. Being a part of teams and knowing your playmakers not getting things going, guess what the offensive coordinator does? Let's go ahead and dial a play up for him real quick. Quick screen, alley play, a quick slant, something like that, where you can kind of get that rhythm going. So it's a little bit on both. And also, too, when you look at some of the high-level wide receivers that I mentioned, their quarterbacks do what? I'm going to get you the ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I get you the ball. So I think it's a little bit on both. Now, granted, it's a good day for Philly, but if you're talking about trying to get to the promised land, Leger, I highly believe Philly can get to the Super Bowl with A.J. not being involved, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a team that's done this all season. They keep giving you wins, but they keep giving you a little storyline, something for them to chew on talk radio.
They giving it to her. I wasn't out there.
I'm not saying you're not giving it to her.
I'll throw him the ball if I was the quarterback.
You were calling it. You were one of those callers. Hey, this is
no.
This is Bryant from Delco. I got a couple questions about A.J. Brown. Well, maybe we get answers moving forward because the Eagles, they play on. The Packers season comes to a close here. A rash of injuries in this game, obviously, limiting the Packers as well. Worth noting as we take a look at the Eagles' last 8 wildcard games. Was a struggle. Now, moving forward, divisional football, and they will be hosting a game in the...
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ lại đi tô màu những bức tranh con vật, động vật và những bức tranh phong cảnh gì đấy cho các bạn xem nha. Đây là những bức tranh mà mình đã tô màu xong rồi này các bạn ạ. Ở đây là trên bàn của mình còn rất nhiều những sản phẩm của mình đã chuẩn bị tô màu cho các bạn đây. Nhưng mà tô màu thì không thể thiếu được những hộp sắt màu này. Đây, những chiếc màu đầy màu sắc này các bạn ơi. Và bây giờ các bạn hãy cùng theo dõi mình tô màu cho sản phẩm nha. Xin chào tất cả các bạn. Tiếp tục nhé.
Tô màu xong nhật đúng không?
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Tô màu những bức tranh con vật, động vật và những bức tranh phong cảnh gì đấy cho các bạn xem nha. Đây là những bức tranh mà mình đã tô màu xong rồi này các bạn ạ. Ở đây là trên bàn của mình còn rất nhiều những sản phẩm của mình đã chuẩn bị tô màu cho các bạn đây. Nhưng mà tô màu thì không thể thiếu được những hộp sắt màu này. Đây, những chiếc màu đầy màu sắc này các bạn ơi. Và bây giờ các bạn hãy cùng theo dõi mình tô màu cho sản phẩm nha. Xin chào tất cả các bạn.
Bây giờ xin tiếp tục tô màu các bạn. Mẹ giờ nhanh để giờ lại nuôi chim. Suốt lại trên mẹ. Cái gì khó quá. Chim mê cả. Đang ngủ kiểu thằng Anh, thằng Huấn ơi, thằng Tuấn ơi, toàn vác bên tới chỗ cái cánh cửa bên ngoài nó tắm cho chim thôi, đâm thủng đi sai tai thế không ngủ được.
Hoàn thành người này, video của mình đến đây là kết thúc nha. Video của mình đến đây là kết thúc nha mọi người. Em đã cố gắng
Tự nhiên là không có chim nào đâu, xong sang nhà anh rể của anh ơi, ở bên đầu trục đấy, xong thấy nó cho hai con chim, thế xong dần dần nó lại thích mua chim, xong lại đi mua đấy, xong dần dần một đống chim ở nhà.
Đấy, giống em nghĩ à?
Ừ, giống em nghĩ đấy, em kia bị cột tay à? Đây không biết à, nó gửi cho anh mà. Đây.
Giỏi. Cụ hẳn không?
Mất một ngón, cho mất một cái đầu thôi, mất thì mất nào được hết cả ngón, đố mất hết cả ngón. Đây nó chỉ mất cái ở bên đầu.
Làm gì mà không biết.
Không biết có lại đi đâu ơi, có lại đi làm hay đi đâu mà có ai là ấy đâu, có Hà Nội ở đâu.